I remember being in the 90s, in my early 20s, on the road with a comedian who was probably in his 50s at the time. And he had watched America. He had seen post World War II and America, you know, the economy and all this stuff. And Annabelle Corley just said, let's just say, don't mention the C word around me. That's funny. That made me laugh, Annabelle. You stupid casino. Graham, how dare you? He was like watching American. He said in the 90s, he goes, this country's fried. I go, what do you mean? He goes, we're done. We don't make anything. He goes, because he remembers as a kid in the 50s when America would like produce all these products and we made farm equipment and we sold our wheat all over the world and all this stuff. And he's like, now we're just got casinos and strip malls. He goes, this country's done. He said that to me in the 90s. I was like in my early 20s. I was like, really? And he's right. And here we are in the middle of this pandemic, and there's no innovation happening. There's no like, we should be like, okay. Remember when the COVID first hit and there was this mask shortage and ventilator shortage? It was like, all right. And Ford was talking about building ventilators. I was like, all right, let's mobilize the country to go to work building masks, finding work that can be functional in the middle of this pandemic, like retraining, like all this stuff. Everyone's working at home. Okay, well, instead it was just like, well, everything's made in China, so the supply lines are strangled. And nobody was like, there wasn't this mass effort to like, let's start making more things in America so Americans are put to work. And if there's another pandemic, we're not like starving. No, just open everything up. That's the solution. Just open it up. Open it up. Open. No masks. Open. Go back to work. And it's like, I understand the desire to go back to work because people aren't working. But again, it goes back to the federal government should be taking care of its people in the middle of a crisis. That's what a government does in a crisis. They should have given $4.25 trillion to the American people. Instead, they give it to Wall Street and the banks. And had they given that money to the American people in the form of paying people's rent and UBI and healthcare. And I've talked about this student debt forgiveness. 85% of all student loans are federal loans. The federal government paid for them. Executive order, Trump could just sign it. They're gone. The loans are gone. Trillions of dollars would be infused back into the economy. Millions of Americans would be like, that student debt's wiped off. They would have more money. Rather than paying for a debt and interest and late fees and whatever else, they got more money now to infuse back into the economy. There should have been this like, let's get inventive. How can we work? How can we figure this out? Let's plan for if there's going to be another pandemic at some point. There could be another one in any of our lifetimes. It could happen. One that's worse, one that shuts things down more, one that's like, every country has to close all of its borders and we have to stop air travel. I mean, it could be really, what if COVID was way more lethal? What if it had a 10 or 20% mortality rate? And what if it was way more contagious? That would be scary. So we could be doing all that stuff. But instead, we're not. And now we're just having this stupid Republican versus Democrat, these two stupid, corrupt parties riddled with soulless morons who all they want to do is steal money from us. Like, literally, that's all they want to do. So, what's up, Cat B? How you doing? What is the total amount of student debt in the United States? Well, it's $1.5 trillion. So 85% of that is federal money that literally could be eliminated by executive order. You don't need tax money to pay for it. The president could say, done. Joe Biden could be running on this, saying, if you elect me, I'll get rid of your student debt. Bernie ran on that, student debt forgiveness. It's a huge thing. It could put Free college and student debt forgiveness is huge. That would change our society. 10 years from now, we would see a drastic difference economically, educationally in our country. We would see we should be like, let's lead the world in innovation. Instead, we lead the world in corruption and handgun violence and people dying because they don't have health insurance, morbid obesity, childhood obesity. What else do we lead the world in? We got to be pretty up there in like racist hate groups and armed militias. We got to be pretty high up in that. It's just preposterous, man.